Arrrgh Book Club discussion of, I guess I'll hold it this way, Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. So we'll wait a few minutes for people to arrive, and hopefully we'll have a great discussion about the book. Oh, my tea is behind you, so don't bump me when I'm reaching for it.
No, I keep my tea in my lap.
That seems dangerous. You're living on the edge. Okay, so let me get this going here so I can see comments better. Let me turn my volume off because that will be weird. Okay.
Hi.
Hey, Dania. Okay, I've got that now. Okay, now I can see comments on the laptop. Got my whole setup going. Okay. Well, do you want to go ahead and get started and just talk a little bit about our initial thoughts of the book? Do you want to go first? You read it first.
Yeah. So I've been a fan of Melinda Lowe's books for a while now. Like I've read Ash and I've read we were really just talking about it.
I know, I was just gonna say, what was it?
A Lion in the Dark. And so like I've already really enjoyed her writing style, and so I was going into this book really excited, and honestly I think this is my favorite work of hers so far, which I don't think anything could top Ash, but this was really good. I was really impressed by it.
I really liked it too. This was my first Melinda Lowe book, so I've never read anything by her, but I've heard Sarah talk about Ash a lot, but I wasn't interested in reading that because it's a Cinderella retelling, right? So that didn't really sound like something I'd like, but this sounded really interesting because it's historical fiction, and I just thought that sounded intriguing enough. There's not a lot of books that I've read that are set in this time period, so I was really interested in reading that. So I had actually pre-ordered this. Not sure if it was going to be my book or Sarah's book. I just thought we should have it. So
it's still my book though,
I don't know. I kind of want to keep it now, so I might make you buy your own. I don't know. We'll see. But I really liked it. This is maybe the very first time since Pride and Prejudice where I've given a romance a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
Really, because I really didn't think it was going to be 5 stars, just because I knew going in that this was primarily a romance novel, and that usually doesn't work for me.
I would personally consider it more on the lines of historical fiction than I would romance, personally. Like, there's romance in it, but I feel like it's not quite a romance novel.
I feel like it's like
borderline, like it's half and half, but I think it leans more historical than historical romance.
Yeah, maybe, but I still feel like it's like right on the edge of being just a romance novel, and I wasn't expecting to love it, so I ended up really liking it a lot, and I felt very like drawn into the story to the point where like I was anxious to pick it up again because I needed to know what was going to happen. So we did not actually plan out any kind of discussion.
Do we ever?
I don't think we do. Sometimes I do. But yeah, I finished the book this morning and meant to sit down with Sarah this afternoon. I'm like, hey, let's talk this out. And then totally didn't. We sat down like 15 minutes ago. I was like, do you think we should plan? So we're winging it tonight. I don't know. I really liked the book. Sarah, did you give it 5 stars too? Yeah. So let's just kind of talk out, like, who is your favorite character, Sarah?
Probably Lily.
Yeah.
Like, I liked Lily and Kath. I like both of them.
I feel like we didn't get to know Kath well enough to develop, like, a relationship with her as a character. I feel like we only really got to, like, really know Lily, and we only see everybody else through her eyes. So, like, we're not meant to like Shirley, and like we don't really get enough of a relationship with any of the other characters beyond how they relate to her. So I don't know that I can say that I liked any of the other characters more than Lily, because like Lily's the only one I got to know.
But Lily was a really great character.
No,
so, like,
she was. Like, I like her. I just didn't get to know anyone else enough to be like, oh, that's my other favorite character. I kind of liked her Aunt Judy. I think of all the characters, I feel like she was the one we got to know a little bit more. But I really liked Lily as a character. I related to the way she kind of sits back and watches things, because that's how I deal with like new situations and pretty much everything. Like I am more likely to sit in the back of a room and like watch for a while before I ever step in and like talk or get to know anybody. Like people always think I'm quiet, but that's just because I'm not comfortable around them yet. Like once I'm comfortable around you, I never shut up. But like, and Sarah's the same way. Like Sarah's very quiet, and she's still quiet, but she's a loud quiet.
Loud quiet.
Well, because you never stop talking to me, so you talk a lot for someone who's so quiet, but you're very soft spoken too. So anyway, so who is your least favorite character? Do you have one? I think we're meant to say Shirley here. I honestly don't know how to feel about Shirley, because obviously this book is very much a part of this time period. Like, and I wonder, who would Shirley be if it were set today? Would she be the same, or would she be more likely to accept? I don't know. What do you think? Did you think about that at all? Like, I don't know. I tend to think in my head as I'm reading, especially historical fiction, like, if this were set now, would this kind of thing still happen? Like, what would that look like now? But I don't know. It was hard to say. Like, there were parts of this book that I found very hard to read, but I understand like that's just what things were like. But it was still hard to read, I guess, like when she's talking to her mother and her parents, and that whole situation was really difficult. Shirley definitely did feel like a bully. I agree with that. She was very demanding of everybody and expected everyone to just fall in line with her and do what she wanted to do. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish there was a little bit more in the book about like the communist stuff and like what was going on there, because we got hints of it. That's why I'm like, it's borderline historical, borderline romance, because I don't think we quite got enough of the historical. We kept like edging closer to it, and I thought it was going to go more into that, but it didn't quite. There was a book I read a few years back called Kami Pinko. I forget the name of the author. Janet something, I think. But that took place in the 1950s, and it was about a girl who's, I think her father was a college professor, maybe something like that, and he got accused of being a communist, and it showed like what happened to her family as her father had to go on trial and do all, and it was really interesting to read about like what that looked like. So I thought we were going to get more of that in the story. Like it kept hinting like it might go that way, but it just never did.
I thought it was interesting, like the in-between sections, like focused on her parents and her family.
Yeah, I liked that a lot too.
Really interesting part of the book.
The little timelines. Yeah, I liked that too. That was maybe some of my favorite stuff, because I like to know like the background information and like how they ended up here and like what their families are like and that kind of stuff. So that was really interesting to read for me. Like I said, I haven't really read a lot of stuff on this time period, so I always get excited when I find things like that. I also was comparing it a lot in my head to The Night Watch, which we read, I don't even know what month that was, November? Maybe? You didn't read that.
No.
I was going to ask. No, you didn't read it. That was a Sarah Waters book. So I thought that there was a lot of comparison between these two books, because they both deal with what it was like to be lesbians in this time period. I think actually The Night Watch took place in the 40s, so a little bit before this, but similar in theme, and getting to see like the way the different characters interacted in public versus in private, and like how they had to be careful and reserved around other people and that sort of thing. So I don't know, I thought it reminded me quite a bit of The Night Watch, but I liked this better than The Night Watch. I feel like we already talked about that book, so I'm not going to go too in depth there, but I feel like this was a better story overall for me than that was.
I was also gonna compare it to Tipping the Velvet, but I've only started the first chapter of that book, so I can't really say much.
You can't say anything.
It reminded me of the first chapter of Tipping the Velvet.
I don't even know which one is Tipping the Velvet.
It's about like, what's it called? I don't know, but male impersonators and that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I see.
The
I didn't
kind
know
of
that. I knew it had
performance
something to
art
do with
type
performance
stuff.
art.
Yeah,
but
so the first
I thought it was more burlesque than.
I don't know. I only
male
read the first
performance.
chapter, so I can't tell you much beyond that. But
I found that stuff really interesting, though, the male performance thing, and the fact that there were like a lot of straight people in the audience to see that, and it made me wonder, like, I don't know if I was supposed to, if they knew what they were watching, or if they were like oblivious, and did they understand like what was happening, because I kept thinking, like, wait a minute, how can they get away with this if we know that they're in danger of getting their club raided and that kind of stuff? Like, how are they getting away with it? Because they had so many people coming to see the shows. Like, I that part, I'm not sure it made enough sense to my brain. Like, did they get it? What do you think? Or did that not even cross your mind when you were reading it? Maybe that was just me, but I was wondering the whole time, like, it seemed like the straight women thought they were watching a man, but that the men knew it was a woman. Does that make sense? Did anyone else get that? Like, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to take from that, and it made me wonder the whole time, like, who knows and who doesn't. So anyway, what else do we want to talk about here? Setting. This book made me hungry. Oh my gosh. I had a whole plan. I was going to make ginger ice cream to eat while we had this discussion, and then I totally forgot to buy the ingredients when I was at the store. So that didn't happen, but I am determined to make some ginger ice cream because that just sounded really, really good. I'm going to make it with coconut milk, and I think it's going to be yummy. I really like ginger. That's one of my favorite like flavors. So I think that's going to be really good. Are you going to try it if I make it?
I'll try a bite. I don't know. I'm iffy about ginger. Sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't.
But the food in this book made me so hungry. The whole time I was reading, I was like, I need all the Chinese food. And I don't know how to make good, authentic Chinese food. And the only restaurant I can eat the Chinese food at is in Maine. So I'm like dying right now. I'm going to need to teach myself how to make Chinese food because everything sounded delicious. I would love to live right above a Chinese restaurant like that and be able to eat all the food all the time. I've always been a big fan of Chinese food. Oh yeah, it's called Green Leaves. It's in York, Maine, and they have a really great, like, huge gluten-free menu. They have so much stuff gluten-free. I've never seen that anywhere. Like, we have a restaurant not too far from us that has some gluten-free Chinese, but they only have like 4 things on their menu that I can get. So Green Leaves is amazing. So yeah, if you're ever in York, Maine, Green Leaves has some of the best Chinese food I've ever had. My husband said he thinks their Chinese food is the best. And he was eating the gluten-free stuff too, but like their regular stuff is really good too. So definitely go check them out. So anyway, so this book made me hungry. What else? What do you want to talk about, Say? I feel like I'm dominating the conversation. Share your thoughts.
What do you think?
Oh, I want to see if anyone had my theory. I had a theory. And I said it to Sarah and she just went, I don't know. Okay, so I thought for most of the book that her Aunt Judy was a closeted lesbian. And I thought at the end, when they were on the train and she was like, listen, we need to talk, I thought she was going to say something about it to her. And like, I understand. But that didn't happen. And now I'm still left like, I still kind of got a feeling like that she felt the same way, but like, was it going to come out? And I just really thought that was going to happen. And I found myself kind of disappointed that it didn't. And then I was second guessing myself. So maybe I wasn't supposed to take that away. But I don't know, just they had so much in common otherwise that I just kind of felt like maybe they had this in common too, but that Aunt Judy hadn't had time to process that because she just internalized it to the point that it was like buried deep, deep down. So I don't know. You didn't get that though?
I mean, maybe like a little bit, but like I wasn't thinking about it quite as hard as you were, I guess.
I don't know. I just like expected it to happen and then it didn't. And I was just, maybe it was just me. Maybe I read too much into it. I don't know. But maybe there was a lot of people like that though that were just so afraid of the thought that they were different that they just buried it deep. And I don't know. I have no idea, but that's just the feeling I got from her Aunt Judy. So yeah, do you have anything else you want to add or say about the story? Did anyone have any other thoughts that they want to share? I'm so sorry that we were just unprepared for this. Like, it's not like I didn't know it was coming. I did just read the book. I even tried to go and look up some discussion questions online, and the only thing I could find was like a literal chapter by chapter breakdown and like specifically to each chapter questions, and that's not what I wanted to do here. So.
This isn't a builder library
I know
study
this
guide.
isn't a study guide. This is just a like very chill discussion.
Very chill.
Too chill, one might say. So, any other thoughts, my dear?
I liked kind of the lesbian found family element, like when Lily ran away from home for a little while and stayed over at I don't remember anybody's names anymore. It's been too long
Lana?
now. Yeah, Lana, I think.
Lana and Tommy.
Yeah, she went to Lana's house and stayed there for a little while. Like, I liked that part of it. It was good that she had a place to go to for at least a little while.
You never saw it, but there's a show called My So-Called Life. I don't know if anyone knows about it, but there is a storyline in that show with a character named Ricky, who is he gay? Yeah, he was gay. And I'm like, gay or bi? I can't remember now, but I'm pretty sure he was gay. And he ends up living with one of his teachers. And so that reminded me a lot of that, like being taken in by someone else who understands what you're going through and that sort of thing. So he ends up like moving in with them and living with his teacher and his teacher's boyfriend. And it was just an interesting, like for the 90s, that's not a thing you saw a lot on TV. So that always stuck in my mind. So that's what it made me think of when I was reading that part of the story where she's with Lana. And so, but yeah, I liked the idea of it. I wondered too, like, no one's checking IDs. When did the drinking age start? Like the fact that they kept getting beer and wine and stuff at the bar was like, did they not have a drinking age at that point? I wasn't sure what was going on there. Let's see, I'm missing people's stuff. Yes.
Well, they had fake IDs, didn't they? Or like,
yeah, but they never took them out.
Yeah.
She kept saying like, you don't really need it. It's a just in case thing. So like they weren't using their fake IDs. Let's see. Oh yeah, I don't think we were meant to like Tommy. I think Tommy was meant to be sort of an off-putting kind of character. But yeah, I don't think. What do you think? Did you feel that way?
Like I feel like Tommy is very much like kind of like a figure, like who you viewed from afar, but then once you started to get to know her, suddenly
it kind of made me think of like celebrity in general. Like you admire people, but if you met them in real life, I think you probably wouldn't like them nearly as much. Like never meet your heroes or something like that, because they're generally just not what you expect them to be. So I get that we weren't supposed to like Tommy. I really would have been surprised if we ended up like building a relationship with Tommy as a character, because it's just not what I expected to happen anyway. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, Tommy did give me like creepy feelings in that party scene. I was like, oh no, this doesn't feel right. Do you want to talk about Lily and Kat's relationship as it built through the story?
I mean, that was my favorite part of the book.
This was surprising for me because I don't like romance in general. Like, I don't mind romance when it's part of a story, but I really just don't enjoy it when that is the story. And I still think like I would classify this as romance. Like, this was primarily about their relationship, so for me that makes it romance. So I was very surprised that I found myself so like, what word do I want? Gripped. Invested, thank you. So invested in their relationship, because normally I would get bored and stop caring about halfway through a romance. So that was a very pleasant surprise. Like, I was really invested in their relationship, and the end made me really sad, but then it got better and made me happy again. It's like the whole idea of like, well, they're never going to see each other again was just like, that was too sad for me. So I was very glad that we got the epilogue and that they do in fact come back together. So, yeah. Any other thoughts?
I don't know about you, but like every time they snuck out to go to the Telegraph Club, that whole thing always stressed me out. I was like, sneaking
my
out of
sweet
the
summer
house.
child.
Yeah, I was always like, she's gonna get caught this time. No, this time she's gonna get caught. Like, I can't understand how people do that.
That's because
Clearly,
you're a good girl.
I'm too good of a person, and I'm just like, sneak out of the house and
like, why would you
don't
do that?
get in trouble.
Yeah, you got to be really careful, and obviously she was, but yeah. that wasn't a thing that I wondered about. Like, I did at one point think she might get caught, but and I mean she kind of did, but not in the sneaking out part, in the aftermath of the sneaking out. Yeah. I kind of wish we could have gotten a little more about what happened to Kath, because I feel like we got left hanging there, and I wasn't sure, like, did they send her away? Like, what happened?
Like, obviously a lot of stuff went down, but
I
we
know,
didn't really
and
get
I wish
any
we
of it.
knew. I need her to write like a little like short story, just like what happened, because I felt like that was missing, and I wish we could have had that. Yeah, Lauren, I know. Like, I had a parent who was pretty oblivious to that kind of stuff, so it wasn't really an issue for me either. So I kind of understood that, but like me personally, I hear everything. So like if someone got up in the night and tried to go and do anything, I would hear them, and I'd probably go check and see what was going on. So I hear things at night. I think Rob is also kind of a light sleeper, so both of us would hear. So not that you're allowed to go places, it's okay. But like, I don't know. I always find it weird though, like so many parents and stories, and like in my own experience, they're just like such deep sleepers that they don't even notice. So anyway, I don't know. I thought this book was great. This is probably going to be in my top 10 at the end of the year, which, to be fair, at this point in the year, I have so many 5-star books that I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the year. I might have to do like a top 20, unless from here on out, my reading just goes to hell. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Who's the last good book you're allowed for?
I know. No. I hope not. This was really good, though. I'm definitely going to read more of Melinda Lowe's stuff. I'm still not terribly interested in reading Ash.
It's so good,
but
though.
I might eventually.
Like, it's perfect, like, bedtime Kindle reading. Like, that's how I read it, like, in bed and I'm on my Kindle, and like, it felt like lulling yourself to sleep with fairy tales.
Cinderella's never been one of my favorites. Like, I can only think of maybe one Cinderella retelling that I actually liked.
It's pretty different. It's like, it's more than just a Cinderella retelling.
I guess so, but I don't know. That just like turned me off a little bit. Like, I don't really want a Cinderella story, but perhaps I'll give it a chance. I don't know. You told me that she wrote some sci-fi.
Yeah, I don't know what her sci-fi is. Like, I haven't looked into it because I don't really like sci-fi, so I wasn't as interested in that as her other books. But you
Yeah,
might
so I
like
might
it.
have to look that up and see because I definitely loved the writing in this a lot. Like I want to have more of that. I also, that was the other thing I thought was really interesting in this story was that so much of the Chinese was written
Oh
out.
yeah, I love
And I just
that.
like that was so cool.
Like that's
Like
not something you see all the time.
no, it's not. And I appreciated it because one of the things I really don't enjoy and will take me out of a story is when there's too many foreign words, but like they're spelled out in English and it like it's so hard for my brain to like, how do you say that? How is that pronounced? So having it written in the Chinese characters for me, just one, it just made it easier to read because now I don't have to like try to say it in my head and know that I'm saying it wrong. So yeah, I don't know. I really like that. I wonder if you have the audiobook. Do they say it
That would
in
be
Chinese? Because that would be really interesting. I don't have the audiobook for this, so I don't know. But I'd be curious to know that. So if anyone's listened to this on audio, if they say the Chinese words, that would be really cool.
They probably do.
I bet they do. Okay. So we will be reading. I don't know, you can probably see it over my shoulder. Oop. We will be reading 1,000 Ships for our April book. I am so excited to start this. I'm going to try to push myself to wait until closer to the end of the month because if I read this now, I'll be a mess, like even more so than tonight in the live show because I need to have it fresh in my mind to be able to really get a good discussion. But I am so excited about this. This is probably my most anticipated book of the year, or one of my most anticipated, because I just love Iliad and like Greek mythology retellings. We're actually right now, my husband and I are watching, what is it called? Troy something. It's like Troy Tale of I don't know. Something along the lines of that. But it's on Netflix and it's like a one season like retelling of the Iliad. And we have like one episode left and it's pretty good. But this whole time we've been watching it, I'm just like, it's hyping me up so much to read this. So I definitely can't wait for that. And are you gonna try to read with me?
We'll see. Depends.
I don't know.
On
I guess
factors,
we'll see.
I don't know. I
On
have a bunch of
factors.
books I want to read this month.
Same. I have my TBR is out of hand. But yeah, I'm really excited to read that. Song of Achilles
I still need to read
is like
that.
one of my absolute favorite books. It's such a beautiful story. And
apparently it's really popular on TikTok right now, so all of the kids are reading it.
All the kids are reading it. Wow, that just made me feel old, Sarah. So yeah, you have to read Song of Achilles. Like, how dare you? I've been telling you about that book for years.
I know. I will.
Like, I promise you're going to love it. Like, I know that you'll love that. So, and I know, like, one of the things that had me so hyped for this is that Madeline Miller blurbs it. It's like, well, if Madeline Miller liked this, it's going to be amazing. So, yeah. But I love stories like this too, because I know that it's a lot of different perspectives. So we get to see the story from like all these different people. And I think it's going to be so good. I'm so excited. So anyway, I'm just super excited about that. I'm going to try and like sit down and plan out what we're going to be reading for book club for like the next 4 months so I can be organized and like make a video and tell everybody what we're going to read so like people can plan ahead more than like a month in advance, because I am so bad at this. Like I'm like, oh yeah, let's decide the book of the month like a day before the month begins. Like I don't give people time. So I'm going to try to do that. Maybe I'll have Sarah sit down with me and we'll go through my shelves and pick things out. I don't know.
And every time I pick a book for book club, you're like, no, I don't want to read that.
I know. Sometimes I have to be in the mood for things. So that makes it hard. But yeah, we have a lot of things to read. My TBR, like I said, is getting to be obnoxious. Like, why can't I just read all day and do nothing else? Seems unfair that I can't. So yeah. Oh, Joelle's gonna read the Telegraph Club. Yeah, you're welcome. I hope you enjoy it. It's such a good story. Like, so beautiful. I'm just so pleased that I enjoyed it. I was so nervous that I wasn't going to like it and that I would make Sarah upset. Sometimes Sarah hypes a book to me and then I read it and don't like it and then she gets mad at me. So, like, I didn't want to disappoint her, but luckily I loved it. So, that's good. What did she write? Emily X Pan.
The Astonishing Color of After.
Okay. I'm like, the whole time I was reading this, I'm like, who is this? Because I know that name.
Yeah.
Okay. You have that book, right?
Yeah, it's good.
I don't know
what
it is.
I read it like years ago, like in 2016 or something. But it was good.
What is it?
It's like...
Is it historical fiction?
No, it's like kind of magical realism. It's about a girl whose mom commits suicide and then turns into a bird.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. Okay.
It's a really interesting book.
So, yeah. Okay. Danny, this was technically, I counted this as part of my March Through History readathon, even though I finished it today. Like, I'm a little late. It's fine. I still count it as a book I read for the readathon because I did start it in March. So it's fine. It counts. I was actually working this morning going through all of my books that I've read and figuring out what I've accomplished as far as the Build Your Library reading challenge goes. So actually, Sarah, can you hand me my bullet journal? I did do better than I thought. Like I was saying,
so that matter.
Yes, thank you. I was saying 10 books, but actually, let me find it. Where is it in my journal? Hold on. I don't know where I put it. Oh, here it is. So actually, I've read, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I've actually read 13 books. So not a ton more than the 10 I was saying, but still it's more. So I don't know. I feel pretty confident that I'm actually going to finish this challenge, which never happens. So I'm hopeful. But if anyone wants me to do a video, I can do like an update where I like actually tell you what books I read and what they counted for. I just haven't gotten to do that yet, but perhaps I will film that as like a reading challenge update, and like people can weigh in the comments of that, like what have they gotten read for each prompt and that kind of thing. I always mean to be more organized than I am, but I'm a whole big mess right now. So,
what is organization?
I don't know. I feel like every now and then I almost grasp organization and then it just slips through my fingers.
I've never grasped it.
On occasion, I feel like I have it together, but for the most part, I don't. So it's fine. But yeah, maybe I'll film that. Are you even doing the challenge? You said you were going to, and then I feel like you did not even try.
I don't even remember what the challenges are.
Sarah, I know. You don't tend to enjoy this kind of thing, do you? You just like to, she's a mood reader. Like a full mood reader.
Like if I'm not in the mood for it, I will not pick it up.
Yeah. I'm the kind of person that I can push myself through a book if I know I have to read it. Like sometimes I have to read things like for work and stuff like that I just like I don't feel like it, but I have to get through it, so I make myself read it, and I almost always end up enjoying the story anyway. But like, so I'm a mood reader in that I'll still pick things for my free reading that I'm in the mood for.
I think March Through History is like the only time I like actually force myself to read a certain type of book for a while. Like, but as soon as March Through History ended, like, okay, I need a historical fiction break.
That morning you had a whole new, what were you reading? What are you reading right now?
Right now I'm reading Shadow and Bone. Yeah.
I saw you with Shadow and Bone like the first day of April. I'm like, ready to move on?
Yeah.
Have you had enough historical fiction? Like I could pretty much, I read historical fiction all the time anyway, so that's like my go-to genre.
And like even at the end of March, I had started reading, I keep forgetting what it's called. Alyssa Cole's thriller. whatever that one is called.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name
It's
either.
like, this isn't
My brain
historical
keeps wanting to
fiction,
say Get
but
Out, but it's
no.
not Get Out. That's the
It's-
movie. It's similar though, right?
The cover is blue.
The cover is blue. Yes.
Also, it has like history-related things in it. So like,
Does
I
it?
guess
I've been interested in that, but I haven't gotten around to reading it.
Because like the main character is like putting together a tour around her neighborhood and like learning about the history of her neighborhood.
That's interesting. There was a middle grade I read. What is it called? The Harlem Charade or something like that, I think. And it was kind of like that. Well, obviously, very different story. but like, you get a lot of history. Yeah, you get a lot of the history of Harlem, and like you get a lot of interesting like tidbits about living there and like how things came to be. I don't know. It was just really interesting to read that kind of thing. Made me wonder, like, I've never lived anywhere interesting enough to have like history like, that I'd care to find out about. Like, I live in boring places, I guess. We live near big cities, but not in them. I don't think I'd want to live in a city, though.
I do.
It's too noisy. I need the quiet and the space. Thank you.
That's
when
the book
no one
I'm
is
reading.
watching. It's been driving me crazy all day because you kept referring to it as that Alyssa Cole book. I was like, which one? I know what you're talking
books
about.
have
but
titles, but do I know what the titles are?
Rarely.
It's because I don't have it physically. Like, I read it as an ebook.
That's
so
true.
I don't
do
like
that too
see
with
the cover
ebooks.
all the time.
Yeah, I do that too with ebooks. If I don't have the cover in front of me, then I'm gonna forget what I'm reading.
But
and
it's
I
pretty
often
good
will hit
so
the
far.
like go to cover, like what am I? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it's pretty good so far. I'm like 50% of the way into it. Like, I'm very iffy. I don't usually like thrillers, but I was interested kind of in this one, so we're just gonna see how it goes.
I'm shaking things. Okay. Yeah, I didn't start anything new yet because like I just finished this morning, so I haven't started a new book yet. I don't know what I'm gonna pick up next. Maybe I'll fill my TBR too, because I have a big stack of books I want to get through this month. I don't know if I will though. We'll see what I actually get done. I don't know, do you want to wrap this up? Do you have anything else you want to say about last night at the Telegraph Club?
It was very good.
Oh, a short story collection by Jen Campbell. I've always wanted to read something by Jen Campbell. I really like her channel. Do you ever watch her videos? Okay. Well, I've heard that she has books that she's written, but like I haven't done any research. So let me know what you think of that, Mickey. I'm very curious. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us and talking about last night at the Telegraph Club. I hope to see you guys. Oh, I'm going to drop this. I don't know what the date for the live show will be yet, but I'm thinking probably like, I don't know, either the very end of this month. I have to look at a calendar. I don't know why I looked at Sarah like, what day is it?
I know.
I don't know. So probably either like the very end of the month or the very beginning of May, we'll have the live show for this. So get a copy, read along with us, and we'll see you guys at the end of the month. So thanks for watching. See you guys later. Happy reading.
Bye.
Bye.